welcome to part two of my analysis of the Lewis Smith Memorial 234 road race up in Notton. Now, if you've not seen the first part, where were you? Where were you on Saturday, right? Check it out on my channel. Or, hey, if you want to just see the last lap, then you're in the right place. Now, my main goal for this race was to stay in the bunch and to stay not just in the bunch, but up in the first 10, 15 wheels. I'm a bit of a bugger for surfing the back, and once the elastic snaps when you're on the back, that's it. Now, this has been a funny race with lots of changeable conditions. You'll note here that this is wet. There's going to be a bit of water on my GoPro. I do apologise, but unfortunately, it's part of race analysis, just like this. Crowd was quite good for this race. It's hotly contested, this race, because actually they were rewarding each category, so 2, 3, and 4, with a guaranteed £100 prize for the winner. I'm going to do the full final lap of this circuit. We go over these speed bumps at a good 34 miles an hour. Fast enough, right? But special kudos to this guy on the right? I absolutely loved his flag waving, and it would be remiss of me to not point that poor guy out who stood there in the rain, he stood there in the sunshine, waving that flag like he did not care, right? So we're going to hit 2 speed bumps again here at 32. There was a line on the left, and I hadn't spotted why these guys were doing this, but the line on the left, or at least I hadn't during the race, was much smoother and much easier. But for me, I really wanted to be up in this front group, but I could see that little breakaway that was there. I wasn't too concerned about it. There's still a good chunk of race left here, so I wasn't too worried about it. We got really confident here in this corner. At one point, this was soaking wet here, and you had to find a really careful line. You couldn't cut the corner like me and the Shibden RT rider in front had done there, because it was too wet. And if we hit the white, then that would have just cut this. Now, these two boys here, I think, who from 360 Cycling 60 and 16 made me giggle a little bit later on. I'll tell you why when we get to the climb. They had a little spat, which brought me great amusement and cheered me up as I was popping some watts down. But these boys were funny, and these guys are going to work to get this break back. Now, the interest for us, you might be thinking, why are we going to work here, right? So, also the bunch at the front here at the peloton quite clearly want to be in a position where we're going to win this race, right? So if we let this breakaway go, especially down this downhill section where they might be able to gap us if they work well together, despite the headwind. If they chain gang here, they might get 32 miles an hour, where if we faff around, we might get 30, right? And that is then going to lead us to lose time. But we're working because they have to be back for us to have a chance at winning. Yes, we might burn some matches, but ultimately, if we've not worked the way through, then we're going to be in trouble here. Looking back on this, I maybe did a little too much work, but you'll note my power's quite low here. So yes, I spent a lot of time on the front here, but I'm only doing like 200 watts. It's like zone 1, zone 2 stuff there. But I think I was far more aero than some of the other guys were. I think my position is quite aero, comes from riding the track a lot. And if you're interested in seeing some track videos, they will be coming. There'll be a track session on Madison, a track video on a Madison session next weekend, and I'll be doing a couple of other disciplines and hopefully some races, although the rules around British cycling and recording on track are pretty clear and pretty authoritarian, right? And it's British cycling, so what do you expect? Whilst I've been chatting away there, I've been on the front. And I've got pinned on the front by this little group. But actually, I was feathering my brakes trying to get them to come over the top of me. And they were all faffing about and they all wanted to sit behind me. So that's fine. I wasn't going to put a huge amount in, anywhere from zone 2 to tempo wattage. But now they're willing to do some work. I'm going to get on this wheel. This Alessi guy looked quite strong. He looked light enough to get us up the climb that is going to be coming and is going to be a big feature in the race. But also big enough that if I'm still on his wheel when we sprint, that I might be able to get a lead out from him. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I've just seen him look over my shoulder. We're still working to get this break back. Now, unfortunately, what had happened here is I hadn't gotten the memo. And the memo from everybody else is that we were no longer going to try and get this break back. And we were going to leave Josh, who hadn't really done too much work, on the front of the race to go chase this breakaway. Now, there was no way I was going to chase this breakaway, right? You'll notice here that even the sprint at that junction was only 300 watts. I am not going to put 600 watts, 900 watts, or any more than that down to come out of that corner. If they want to go and chase this breakaway, they can come from behind me. But nobody's interested, right? I'm doing 200 watts on the front, and nobody is coming round me. 180, right? And you'll note I've gone back up here and I've decided, right, okay, I've got an idea. Let's see what we can do. This might get me back onto that break and then win me the race if I continue with my momentum. So you notice here, I'm putting some power down, right? I'm running at basically a VO2 interval. It wasn't quite ready yet. I thought the hill was going to come quicker than it did. So I'm going to run at VO2, high cadence, pretty comfortable for me. I can sit at that power for a little while, right? Let's say without giving all my secrets away, right? But I can sit at that power for a little while. I've got the bunch strung back behind me, so I'm going to get a rear-facing camera soon. But trust me, we got a line of maybe 10 riders and then the peloton. And I thought, I'm going to get to this climb and I'm going to light it up. I'm not the lightest guy. A lot of these guys are probably 10, 15 kilos than me, right? Some of them are juniors, so some of them are at least 10 kilos smaller than me with FTPs that probably aren't too far off. So I put a little bit of power down here, but actually I thought, okay, I don't have the biggest amount of confidence in my ability to do this. So I'm going to put enough power down to hopefully keep the guys with me, but I'm going to try and help them to get over the top, right? And I'm expecting 4 or 5 climbers to come over the top here, but they are still using me to string out the race. Clever move from them. If I was behind my wheel, I probably would have done the same. But here, I would have had to move because 280 watts, that breakaway is going away. I want that £100. For me, I'm not too fussed about the prize money. I had a big race coming, but this guy is going to do what I wanted, which is to come over the top. And you'll note that in a moment, as soon as somebody comes over with slightly less force, there we go. Somebody's coming on my shoulder. I'm going to put some power down seated. High cadence again, because I'm pretty good at those high cadence power drills, and I'm going to get in. This is a line of 3, and I'm going to try my very best to get on the wheel of number 9 here. There's going to be a slight right-hand turn, but actually what this ends up being is a little bit of argy-bargy with somebody whose wheel I had been on quite a lot. You'll notice on the right-hand side in a moment, you'll just see a lever, and that's because I'm actually trying to shove my way into this, right? So you see a little bit of contact there, but he's moved around the 360 cycling guy who had asked his teammate to help him earlier on, and his teammate had told him very kindly that he wasn't going to do that, let's say. There was more group here than I thought there would be, and I tried a little dive bomb on the inside, but it was really slippy, and when I came out, I had a bad line. You'll see I'm far too far on the left-hand side, and when I put the power down, I'd slipped a little. So actually, I ended up losing a lot of wheels here. You'll notice that my dream of that £100, or well, my dream of that £100 is on its way out. And actually, I'm going to get completely swallowed here. But my big aim for this race was to comfortably sit within the bunch in the top 10 or 15 riders and learn some lessons as fundamentally a second year junior at the age of 26, having only done this for 2 years. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching it. I've been Low Watts High Ambitions. Subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment if you want to talk about it, you want to share it. I love cycling. I'd love to talk about these things with you. And I've got an Instagram as well, Low Watts High Ambitions. Drop me a follow. Cheers.